The Pittsburgh Steelers have a hidden gem that nobody's talking about. So, the hidden gem that the Steelers have is coach, defensive coordinator Terrell Austin. So, the reason why I say he's a hidden gem that nobody's talking about is because in the last 2 weeks, I've been hearing some absurd ideas from people a part of the Steelers who are covering them and by the fans. Ever since Brian Flores got hired by the Minnesota Vikings, I've been hearing people say that the Steelers should have fired Terrell Austin and just hired Brian Flores and promoted him to defensive coordinator instead. And that's an absurd idea. Because when you look at Terrell Austin, his first year with the Steelers, he turned around their whole defense. Just going back 2 years ago, under Keith Butler, the Steelers were dead last in run defense, and their pass defense wasn't good at all either. But in Terrell Austin's first season as the Steelers defense coordinator, his team led the league in interceptions, and also they were top 6 in run defense as well. So that's what happens when you have a good coaching staff. There's turnover on the coaches, and Flores was blocked out by Austin, who didn't deserve to get fired. But Flores is a stud coach too, and he got his rightful promotion elsewhere. Either way, there was zero reason to fire Austin. And why I say he's a stud, when you look at the Steelers' run defense, they were missing TJ Watt for basically more than half the season, and he was still dealing with injury. So they were basically missing their star defense player of the year, and they were still top 6 in run defense. And also, when you look at their interceptions that they got and the turnovers, leading the league in interceptions was huge because the Steelers don't have that true lockdown cornerback, the one guy who's just going to man up against the top wide receiver. They really have a cornerback by committee with Cameron Sutton, Levi Wallace, and even other guys like James Pierre just stepping up. So Terrell Austin having these non-lockdown cornerbacks and having to deal with TJ Watt being out, he was an absolute stud in his first season. Now, I just want to talk about the numbers for Terrell Austin's first year as a defensive coordinator. When you look at it, Terrell Austin in year 1 was 10th in points per game allowed at 20.4 and also led the league in interceptions with 20. And people are worrying about Flores leaving. Even though he was a huge part of the Steelers' defense, they're going to be fine with Terrell Austin. I really like what he's done with the Steelers in his first year. It's getting painted by some that Austin was just a failure, but he's not. Because when you look at the Steelers' last 7 games, they didn't let up more than 17 points, and the most was 17 points by the Colts. The last 6 games, they didn't let up more than 16. So the Steelers' defense, especially the last half of the season, was absolute lockdown, and they were the reason why the Steelers were in most of their games. Their defense. When you look at the Steelers weren't putting up points either. Their last 7 weeks, their highest was 28, and their second highest was 24. After that, they didn't put up more than 16 points in any other game. So the Steelers' offense wasn't producing, and the Steelers were only in games because the defense was able to get stop after stop, letting the Steelers have chances at comeback drives. Without their defense playing well, the Steelers wouldn't have those games against the Ravens and the Raiders where Kenny Pickett led the game-winning drive. Without the Steelers' defense, there wouldn't be that bright shine on Kenny Pickett as being the guy because he could lead those game-winning drives. They wouldn't have had a chance to do that without the Steelers' defense. And that's all because Terrell Austin turned around their whole team. Yes, there's some still weak spots on the Steelers' defense when you look at it. They're not perfect. The first half of the season wasn't great, letting up huge amount of points. Like the Bengals in week 1, they scored 20. The Browns scored 29 against us. The Jets scored 24. And the Eagles scored 35. Bengals scored 37. But the second half was really where it was dominant. And that's where the Steelers' defense started to pick up. I know when you guys read the title of this video, you weren't expecting me to be talking about a coach as being the hidden gem. You're probably thinking about me doing a player, but Terrell Austin has been such a bright spot for the Steelers defense, and he should deserve a second year at this job, and it shouldn't have been taken away by Brian Flores, and good thing it wasn't, because even though Brian Flores is a huge and great coach, Terrell Austin was fantastic in year 1 and deserves another year. So, let me know down in the comments below, how do you feel about Terrell Austin, and how do you think he did as a defensive coordinator in his first year with the Steelers? Do you think he did good, or would you rather them have just hired Brian Flores to become the defense coordinator and let Terrell Austin leave or go back to a different role? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you like Steelers content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below so you get notified whenever I post a Steelers video. Click the bell down below, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.